All right, Dr. Alby, thank you for spending time with us today. All right, do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
I'd be happy to. So I have been at Georgia College since 2001. I think it is the most remarkable place to work, and I hope to spend the rest of my career here because I just love it so much. And our College of Education is just such an extraordinary place to work. My area of specialization is secondary education, and the way we do secondary education at Georgia College, we have people all mixed together, people who are going to be English teachers and chemistry teachers and French teachers and so on. And so I've got to kind of be a generalist. I've got to know about all of those things, which is something that I really love. I also do a lot of work in faculty development for college professors at Georgia College and across the state. And that's something else that kind of fits in with what I'm already doing and that I just really enjoy.
Well, great. Well, I'm going to ask you a few things about the Masters of Art in Teaching program that we have here. I'm going to give you a few questions here. Is that okay?
That sounds fantastic.
All right, great. Thank you again for taking the time with us. So what is an MAT and how is it different from our undergraduate degrees in education or a master's in education?
Yeah, so a Master of Arts in Teaching is, or MAT as we call it, is a kind of very specific thing. In our undergraduate programs, that is what we call initial teacher certification, which means someone who doesn't know a lot about teaching learns about teaching so they can get that certification required by the state in order to teach. And so the MAT is really a lot like our undergraduate degrees in a way because it's leading to that initial teacher certification. Now an MED, which we also offer, is for someone who is already certified. Maybe they did an undergraduate degree and they got certified to teach sixth grade or whatever, and they've been teaching it for a while, and they just want to go back and build their knowledge. That's what an MED is for. So it does not get you that initial certification that allows you to teach. The MED is for people who already have that and want to add something on. But again, the MAT is for someone who wants to teach, already has an undergraduate degree, but isn't certified yet.
Okay. And then speaking of that, so what types of MATs does the College of Education offer?
So we offer three. There's a middle grades MAT, and it is for math and science folks. We're trying to build the number of math and science teachers in our region. It's a totally online program. Then we have a special education MAT. It is also a totally online program. And then we've got a secondary MAT. That's the one I teach in. And we've got two versions of that program. One is 100% online, and the other one is almost exclusively face-to-face. The face-to-face one is much shorter because you're doing it full time. It's your whole, just 1 year, bang it out, just really learn everything. It's a wonderful program. But then the online programs tend to be 5 to 6 semesters because they're designed more for people who have gotten a job. Some school has hired them and said, okay, the clock's ticking, you can't keep this job unless you get your full certification. And then, so they would come into one of the online programs.
Okay, all right. So how long have these programs been around here in the College of Education?
So the face-to-face secondary program has been around even longer than I have. It started in the late 1990s. And the reason we only wanted to do secondary as a master's program and not an undergrad is that when you're teaching high school, you really have to know your stuff. So, we think you should have like a whole degree in like math or chemistry or political science. And then once you really know your content, come over to the College of Education, and we'll do that, that 1-year program to kind of get you up to speed in terms of the teaching. We felt that was kind of an ideal way to prepare high school teachers, because they just have that, have such a strong need for a massive understanding of their content. So we ran that program for many, many years. And then we decided to try an online version, and that went well. And so middle grades and special ed decided that they would also join in. And so those programs are, I have to admit, I'm really just guessing here, but I'm going to say 5 or 6 years old, maybe at this point. Some of them might be even newer.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like we got a lot of experience with it than here. And so, and I know you touched on this a little bit, but so how many are online and face-to-face, and how's that fall out for us?
Online is much bigger. The face-to-face cohort is usually 20 to 24 people. The onlines, we sometimes we run multiple cohorts of that. I don't even know how many at this point. In secondary, it's maybe 20 face-to-face, and over the 2-year span, we might have 100 online. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and this is something I've just heard discussed in the past. So why do an MAT instead of the TAP program? And if you don't mind just explaining what that means to those who may not be familiar with it.
Right. So the teacher shortage is pretty severe in Georgia and really across much of the nation, and at the moment only becoming more severe. And so schools are often forced to hire people who have no certification at all. They haven't taken any, they've got an undergraduate degree in something, but they haven't taken any education courses. And so that is kind of what happens here, is that there need to be programs in place that will allow that person to get their full certification and really know how to teach. And there are 2 main ways to go with that. One is what in Georgia we generally call a TAP program, which is where the state offers education courses to help someone become fully certified, and then an MAT program. So anyone who takes a job like that has those 2 options. So why would you choose one over the other? In my mind, it's kind of hard to imagine. I'm not sure why people go for a TAP program over an MAT, because in an MAT, either way, it's costing you money. It's taking a lot of your time. Quality-wise, they might be relatively similar, but with the MAT, you're getting an actual degree. So that increases your pay substantially. So you're getting the degree. You're getting often a much higher level of support, because you've got professors, at least at Georgia College, who, that's their job, is to spend a lot of time working with you. And of course, in an MAT, you're going to get just kind of a higher level of learning, because it isn't a master's program. So to me, if you're going to put in the time to get the initial certification, why not also get a degree?
No, I understand. Yeah, that makes sense. And kind of piggyback off that. So how would you see that program benefits our students?
Well, I think that one of the great things about the program is that no matter which one you're doing, face-to-face or online, any of the different degrees, you've got someone who's assigned to you, who's your mentor through the whole program, who can just really keep an eye on you, there to help you. You kind of need, that person, which at Georgia College we call a mentor leader. I think it makes a big difference just to have that person in your court, as opposed to just a bunch of different professors teaching classes. So I think that's very important. I think it's also a huge benefit because whether you have a teaching job and you're getting the MAT along with that, or you're doing the face-to-face program, even then you're in schools a lot. So it's got this field-based component where when you're learning things in your college courses, you're seeing them play out in a classroom every day, and you're making the connections. Something you learn on Tuesday evening, you can apply on Wednesday morning if you need to. I think that's a huge benefit of the program. And most of our programs are cohort based, meaning you come in with a group of people. Those are the people who you take most of your classes with. You really get to know them, and they become a support network. In teaching, you really need a strong support network. You honestly do. And it needs to be other teachers who you have a real relationship with. And so to me, that's another just very important benefit of any of our MAT programs.
And it sounds like with the cohort, you have great peer-to-peer learning and relationships, and then we really go all the way for the mentorship side from the faculty. So I mean, that's certainly, I think, one of the things that makes us special here at Georgia College. And so thank you for explaining that. It's just brilliant. Thank you. So I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, we'll close out with this a little bit more personal question, because I think it is really important, whatever profession folks choose. Is but for you, what makes teaching a rewarding career?
Well, I'm the kind of person who I really don't like to be bored. I want a job that is different every day and is challenging every day. And that is something that I have definitely found in teaching, and that I know our graduates find. It's a difficult challenge. I'm absolutely not saying that teaching is easy, because it really is not. It is a very difficult job. But it's exciting every day. When you work with a group of humans, you just never know what's going to happen. And I like that. Before I was in teaching, like one summer I worked at JCPenney's, and I was just like, every single day feels exactly the same almost. It was just horrifying. So I love the fact that there's that difference every day, that every day brings something new. No matter how many years you teach, decades later, still every day brings something new for me, and for most teachers that I know. I also think that one of the things that is just so fantastic about being a teacher is the level of personal relationship you get to have with people. There are lots of jobs where people work with people. So for example, I'm sure it's wonderful to be a doctor, but like I see my doctor a couple times a year. We have a relationship, but it's not the same. Like when you have students, you see them generally every day for a period every day for a whole semester, maybe multiple semesters. You really get to know those individuals. And by really getting to know those individuals, you are having the opportunity to have a real impact on their lives. Most people who you talk to, can tell you about that one teacher. I wish there were a lot more than one. A lot of people can only tell you about one. I wish they could hardly choose from amongst all the amazing teachers they had. But one teacher can make a big difference. We even know this from research, the extent to which a single teacher can have such an enormous impact on a single student. So gotta love that about it. And it's kind of a practical job in a way. You can, if you teach almost anything, you can get a job. You'll get a job, and you can, you can move easily, virtually if anywhere you wanted or needed to move in the United States. They will want and need teachers. We've had a lot of graduates who have taken that degree and taught abroad. So, there's just really a lot of options. And I love that about it. And Also, I know a lot of people who have graduated from our MAT programs who have, that's led into other types of education related jobs. Like some have become, administrators in schools or corporate trainers, or we've had graduates who like work in, they teach, but like in at a zoo or in museums. Uh, there's, I think people have a tendency to think very narrowly about what you might do with an education degree, when in fact, there's a lot of different directions you can go with it. And in these uncertain times, I think that there's something to be said for that, for a job that where you can move anywhere and have a lot of options and get hired, get snapped right up. That's pretty attractive. So I'm hoping that our MATs can attract a lot of maybe second career people who their first career, maybe they were just kind of felt done with it, or wanted a career that felt more meaningful to them or gave them more options. So I'm hoping we attract those individuals. I'm hoping we attract, sometimes people near the end of their undergraduate degree and just aren't sure what they want to do with it yet, or they graduate and just kind of feel like they're floundering. I think that those are great candidates for the MAT program. It's kind of well designed for them, that they have that opportunity to take an undergraduate degree that now they're like, oh, I'm not totally sure what I want to do with this, and have a meaningful way to go with it.
Well, thank you for sharing that last answer and insight, both personally and professionally. I think will help a lot of folks out there, and especially like you were saying right now. And as we move forward, we're always going to need our educators and folks that are committed to that. So thank you so much. And again, thank you for taking the time today and spending a few minutes with us. And we appreciate it. Thank you.
I enjoyed it very much, and please direct people my way if they have questions or want to know more. I can always talk more about our MIT programs.
Yeah, and so if somebody did, how would the best way for them to go and reach out to the College of Education and get some information on that?
It might, oftentimes what I recommend for people is to talk with Shonda Brand. She's kind of a good starting place because she oversees all of our graduate programs in the College of Education, and she can kind of siphon people to the best person to talk to.
Okay. And our College of Education, John H. Lounsbury College of Education website underneath the Georgia College banner. Yeah, they can just go to that and we can certainly get them to the right direction. Well, again, thank you for your time today.
You're very welcome.